how money rewires your brain, and why you didn't even notice. Most people think money gives you freedom, but I think money gives you amnesia. The more of it you have, the easier it becomes to forget how the world actually works. You stop noticing small costs. You stop feeling small consequences. But what if the real freedom money offers isn't from poverty? It's from accountability. Money doesn't just change your life, it changes your perception. And if you're not careful, it changes who you are. I used to believe money made people more of who they already were. You've probably heard that too, right? Right? That money is just a financial megaphone. That it doesn't change your nature. It just turns up the volume. But my friends who study neuroscience, they'd disagree. They'd say, no, money doesn't just amplify who you are. It rewires you. Quietly, subtly, in ways you don't even notice, until you look in the mirror and realize you're running on autopilot. Let's start with something obvious, but terrifying. Your brain doesn't treat money as paper or numbers. To your ancient limbic system, the part that still thinks we're on the savannah, money is meat, shelter, status, a resource worth hoarding. This isn't metaphor, it's neuroscience. Studies using fMRI scans show that even the anticipation of financial gain lights up the brain's reward circuits, the same way it responds to sex, sugar, and addictive substances. One key region? The nucleus accumbens, the command center for dopamine release. In a landmark study by Knutson et al. At Stanford, researchers found that the anticipation of money, not even the reward itself, caused a spike in neural activity indistinguishable from addictive substances anticipation in addicts. The brain gets high off the expectation. But here's what they don't tell you. This system has a negativity bias. Losing $100 activates the amygdala, your threat detection center, twice as strongly as gaining $100 activates your reward center. This is why financial trauma sticks. Why people who've experienced poverty make what looks like irrational decisions to those who haven't. Their brain isn't thinking, it's surviving. So that euphoric rush you feel when your investment goes up, that's not discipline, that's biology. You're not a genius. You're a well-fed lab rat in a very expensive cage. And speaking of survival, let's talk about cortisol, the stress hormone. Research from the University of Miami shows that chronic financial insecurity creates cortisol levels comparable to combat veterans. Your body stays in fight or flight mode all the time. But here's the twisted part. Once you escape that insecurity, your brain doesn't just reset, it overcompensates. In a study by Mani, Mullainathan, and Shafir, farmers in India were tested before and after harvest. Before harvest, when they were poor, they performed significantly worse on cognitive tasks. After harvest, when they had cash, they scored 13 to 14 IQ points higher on the same tests. Same people, same brains, different financial reality. Why? Because when you're in survival mode, your mental bandwidth is consumed by fear. You're not dumb, you're drowning. So when you see someone poor making bad decisions, that's not their character. That's their brain, hijacked by scarcity. The rich don't have better brains. They have brains that aren't constantly screaming, "We might die tomorrow." That's not weakness, that's biology. And it's the part most people never see. Here's another twisted mechanism. Decision fatigue immunity. A famous study by Vohs, Mead, and Good found that just thinking about money made people more self-sufficient, but also less helpful. But the real kicker? The rich experience less decision fatigue because they outsource their cognitive load. While the average person burns mental energy on, should I buy generic or name brand? Do I have enough for gas this week? The wealthy? They have assistants, accountants, concierges, people whose entire job is to shield them from small choices. Their prefrontal cortex, the one we just said gets dulled by money, actually stays fresher because it's never spent on things like budgeting groceries or juggling late fees. So now, they walk into big decisions with a less tired brain and mistake that freshness for wisdom. They're not making better decisions, they're just better rested. And they call that clarity. And then there's the cruelest paradox of all. The more you have, the less you enjoy. This is called hedonic adaptation. It means your brain adjusts to new levels of wealth or pleasure in just 3 to 6 months. That $100,000 car? It feels normal by Christmas. That mansion? It's just home by summer. And then comes the silent thief. In a 2010 study published in Psychological Science, researchers Jordi Quoidbach and Elizabeth Dunn found that people who had more money savored life less. In one experiment, participants were shown pictures of cash before eating chocolate. Those primed with money rated the chocolate as less enjoyable. The sugar was the same. The pleasure center was dulled. Their brains had already received the reward just from seeing money. The chocolate became redundant. So money doesn't just buy things, it steals your ability to enjoy them. And worst of all, you don't even notice it's happening. Because what used to feel like joy now just feels like Tuesday. Let me tell you a story. Ike Batista, at one point the richest man in Brazil. Oil, mining, energy, logistics. He didn't just want wealth, he wanted to become the richest man in the world. And for a while, it looked like he would. But then he lost everything. $35 billion, gone in under 18 months. Not because the markets crashed, not because of some crisis beyond his control, but because no one around him was willing to say, "You might be wrong." Years of unchecked wealth rewired his judgment. Overconfidence became a system. Doubt became unnecessary. One of his own executives admitted, "We all stopped asking hard questions. Everyone assumed Ike was right, including Ike." When money makes you untouchable, you stop seeing your blind spots, and eventually, they drive you off a cliff. There's this persistent myth that rich equals smart, that money is proof of brilliance, of vision, of some genetic edge the rest of us just missed. But research from Northwestern University says otherwise. In a series of experiments, participants were asked to rate 2 identical candidates. Same resume, same photo, same background. The only difference? One was labeled as high income. Guess who people said was more competent, more trustworthy, more intelligent? Exactly. It's like saying someone's taller because they wear expensive shoes. We don't see intelligence. We see the performance of it. Now take Elizabeth Holmes. Theranos, a black turtleneck, a deepened voice, a $9 billion valuation, and a product that never worked. But for years, she was hailed as a genius, the next Steve Jobs. Because money wrapped her in a halo so bright, people forgot to ask, wait, where's the science? We mistake confidence for competence. We confuse wealth with wisdom. And every time we reward the illusion, it grows stronger. Let's zoom out. Lower-class individuals showed more compassion, generosity, trust in experimental settings. Why? Because their survival has always depended on social networks. Meanwhile, upper-class individuals showed what the researchers called transactional empathy. They'll help, but only if there's something in it for them. It's not that they're worse people. Their brains are just running different software. Social calculus instead of social connection. Here's the uncomfortable part. You don't need to be rich for money to rewire you. It already has. Have you ever felt smarter after getting paid? That's your nucleus accumbens confusing financial reward with intellectual validation. Have you ever judged someone poorer than you? That's your anterior cingulate cortex failing to activate because your brain perceives them as other. Have you ever ignored suffering that wasn't yours? That's your mind efficiently allocating emotional resources, a luxury the truly desperate can't afford. The danger of money isn't what it adds to your life. It's what it edits out. Empathy, perspective, need, patience. All the things that made you human to begin with. Try this. Next time you're with a friend, randomly hand them $10. Don't explain it. Don't make a big deal. Just give. And watch what happens. Even if they smile, even if they laugh, something will shift. The dynamic changes. You're now the patron. They're now the recipient. And that strange discomfort you feel? That's your brain's social hierarchy system activating. Your mind is recalculating the relationship, assigning value, tracking balance. Now imagine that same moment, but with 6 more zeros. Imagine it never turning off. That's the rich person's reality. Every conversation, every connection, has a price tag you can't see, but they can't stop calculating. Eventually, their brain stops seeing people. It sees assets and liabilities. So, do I think money is evil? No. Do I think being broke is noble? Absolutely not. Poverty traumatizes the brain in ways that wealth can't always heal. But I do think that most people chasing money have no idea what they're asking for. They want wealth, but they don't want the version of themselves that wealth might create. But here's the good news. If money rewires the brain, we can rewire it back. Neuroscience says it's possible. Through intention, through friction, through practice. Let me show you how. If money changes your brain, then here's how to fight back. 1. Forced perspective taking. UC Berkeley researchers found that just 10 minutes of writing from another person's perspective increases anterior insula activation for up to 48 hours. The rich need what the poor get for free. Regular reminders that other minds exist. 2. Strategic scarcity. Create intentional constraints. Cook instead of ordering in. Fix something instead of replacing it. Take the long way home. These small frictions activate problem-solving circuits that money tends to put to sleep. This isn't about being cheap. It's about keeping your brain alive. 3. Anonymous giving. Here's the trick. Only anonymous giving bypasses your brain's reward circuits. No thanks. No recognition. No likes. Just pure empathy. Untracked. Think of it as compassion weightlifting. 4. The before money ritual. Keep one habit from before you had money. Maybe it's taking the bus. Maybe it's making your own coffee. Maybe it's shopping with a list. These are your neural anchors, little rituals that remind your brain who you were before the dopamine loops took over. You don't need to go backwards, but you do need to remember. Here's a simple test. Track what you stop noticing as you gain more comfort. Do you stop noticing the price of milk, the bus schedule, the tiredness in your barista's eyes, the anxiety in a friend's voice when they talk about rent? Each thing you stop noticing is a neural pathway being pruned. Each is a piece of the world disappearing from your perception. Wealth isn't just about what you gain. It's about what fades from view. And eventually, what disappears from your very sense of what's real. So next time you envy the rich, don't just look at what they've gained. Look at what they may have lost. And ask yourself the only question that matters. If the price of wealth is forgetting who you are, would I still be willing to pay it? That answer is your homework. Because in the end, money doesn't just change what you have. It changes what you see and what you're willing to forget.